We have a geomagnetic storm alert. Coronal mass ejection CME is heading for our Earth. Estimated time of arrival tomorrow. This was a flare that came out on January 30th. And we have the SOHO image, solar coronal mass ejection heading for Earth. Estimated time February 2nd. The movie is from SOHO showing the halo CME leaving the sun. According to space weather, we know that we are now heading towards a solar maximum, and we are going to have more activity. Moderate, strong G2 class geomagnetic storms possible after the CME arrives. The G2 class, according to space weather, is moderate geomagnetic storm impacts. Power systems, high latitude power systems may experience voltage alarms. Long duration storms may cause transformer damage. Spacecraft operations, corrective actions to orientate may be required by ground control. Possible changes in drag affect orbit predictions. And other systems, high frequency radio propagation can fade at higher latitudes, and aurora has been seen as low as New York and Idaho, typically at 55 degrees geomagnetic latitude. So people in New York and Ohio may be able to see northern lights. I was lucky enough to see them because I used to live in Montreal, Canada. And here we have the full resolution model showing first contact happening during the early UT hours, February 2nd. Contact happening. Again, here we go. Plasma density, radial velocity on the bottom. It came out on the 30th. This shows the activity yesterday on the 31st. And here we go again. And showing us when it comes. Showing us when it gets here. So NASA is predicting that this coronal mass ejection solar storm will hit us directly in a few hours, and it's going to be fast and strong. So that's not good news. Solar storm heading straight for our Earth in a direct hit. And NASA is prompting fears of blackouts from the fast and strong impact. Fast solar winds rocketed out of the sun January 29, 30th, along with coronal mass ejection CME. This means a solar storm has been tipped to reach Earth by tomorrow, February 2nd. A CME, as we know, is a large expulsion of plasma, a magnetic field that explodes from the sun's coronal mass ejection, its outer layer, and it comes with solar radiation. And these contain billions of tons of fast-moving solar particles, as well as the magnetic field that binds them. Dr. Tamitha Skov, space weather physicist, posts on Twitter, direct hit. NASA, NOAA, and Met Office predictions agree that solar storm launch January 29 will hit Earth by February 2nd. And she said the earliest post showed NOAA SWPC space weather prediction. This one shows the NASA prediction, which indicates solar storm could hit as early as 6 p.m. GMT today. Now, the final post in the Met Office prediction says this model shows that the solar storm hitting by 5 p.m., 5 o'clock GMT on 500 hours GMT, February 2nd. So she says we have a range from 1600 hours GMT, February 1st, so that's now exactly, to 500 hours tomorrow morning, February 2nd. If the hashtag solar storm hits early, it will be fastest and strongest, and if it hits later, it'll be slower and weaker. Let's hope it'll be later. Now, when the solar storm arrives at Earth's atmosphere, it can cause problems. According to space weather, as we read, the G1 minor, well, this is G2. The least is G1, and the way up is G5 extreme. But even the weakest of storms threaten power grid fluctuations and have a minor impact on satellite operations. At the stronger end of the scale, this is where it starts to get more dangerous. When CMEs collide with Earth's magnetosphere, all of that extra radiation can damage the satellites we use for communications and navigation. It can disrupt power grids and provide our electricity. And let's remember that every time a CME comes in, we may be getting headaches. Okay, that does affect some sensitive people. Now, while the Met Office has said that the incoming storm is expected to be around G1 or G2 in strength, we just read in space weather, it's G2, and is also a slight chance of G3. So the website states that there is a chance of radio blackouts. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, predicts the storm will be around G2, as we read before, and that's when it strikes tomorrow. And it warned that increased drag on low Earth orbit satellites is possible. She warned that this could cause GPS and radio issues on Earth's night side, and stronger solar storms can cause power outages that could even last days if the storm directly interferes with power transformers. Space weather warned during storms, the currents in the ionosphere, as well as the energetic particles that precipitate into the ionosphere, add energy in the form of heat. So this can increase the density and distribution of density in the upper atmosphere, causing extra drag on satellites in low Earth orbit. Now, spectacular auroras, as we can see, as we read on space weather, you can see them up New York, upstate New York and Ohio, around the Great Lakes. So, look for them. If you have clear skies, it's a beautiful sight. They've been spotted time and again when solar storms strike. You may want to cancel that trip to Iceland to see northern lights, because you might get a chance to see them in the northern hemisphere, like northern Europe or around the border of US, Canada. The Met Office reported that visible aurora could be seen in North Wales, North Norfolk and latitudes, and also, as we said, around Ohio, Washington State, New York State. So I'll leave links below for you for this by Jacob Paul Express UK and also Space Weather. This is a direct hit, coming fast and strong, G2 magnetic storm. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box